Hello friends and my dear students. This is your Yoganandam biology lecturer from Edall Academy YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss one of the biology full syllabus test paper. Already we have discussed totally there are 15 papers in order. This is the 16th paper. Even this paper we are going to discuss totally there are 90 questions with detailed solutions. So altogether we are going to discuss before NEET examination 5000 questions with detailed solutions. Those who are watching our channel, you are requested to like, subscribe and share to your friends. Let us continue the question and answer.
Question number 1. The arteries differ from veins in having. The pulmonary artery carries dark red deoxygenated blood from the right ventricles to the lungs, whereas pulmonary vein carries bright red oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium of the heart. Veins consist of three distinct layers, which are thin and collapsible, whereas arteries consist of three distinct layers, which are ridged, thicker, and highly muscular. So the answer for this question is option B. Veins consist of three distinct layers which are thin and collapsible, whereas arteries consist of three distinct layers which are ridged, thicker, and highly muscular. Question number 2. Find out the incorrect statements. Here there are 5 statements are given. Mycoplasma is the smallest cell. They are 0.3 microns in diameter. The organization of the prokaryotic cell is fundamentally similar, even though prokaryotes exhibits a wide variety of shape and function. The 4 basic shapes of bacterial cells are bacilli, that is rod-like, coccus, spherical, vibrio, comma-shaped, and spirillum, spiral-shaped. So the answer for this question is option D. From the given 5 statements, third and fifth statement alone incorrect statements. Question number 3. Rate the following statements A to C about the human heart. From that, how many statements are correct from the above? AV node is a specialized mass of cardiac tissue present in the lower left corner of the right atrium close to the AV septum. The body has ability to alter the stroke volume as well as the heart rate and thereby the cardiac output. So the answer for this question is option B. From the given 4 statements, there are 2 statements correct above. Question number 4. George Palade observed granular structure under electron microscope which is composed of. Ribosomes are the granular structures first observed by George Palade under electron microscope as dense particles. They are composed of ribosomal RNA and proteins and are not surrounded by any membrane. They are also known as ribonucleoprotein particles. So the answer is option C, RNA and proteins. Question number 5. Select not incorrect statements. In diplotin stage, synaptonymal complex starts disintegration and chromosomes of a pair start separating. Recombinase enzyme is present in recombination nodule which helps in recombination. In anaphase 2, centromere splits and chromatids starts separating and interkinesis is generally short-lived. So the answer is option D. From the given 4 statements, statement 1 and 3 not incorrect statements. Question number 6. Which one of the following statement is not correct for most common type of nephrons of human kidney? Human kidney has about 85% cortical nephrons and about 15% juxtamedullary nephrons. The cortical nephrons are highly coiled structures with major parts present in cortex region. Juxtamedullary nephrons have a long loop of Henle which run deep in the medulla, well developed vasa recta, and are mainly activated during a shortage of water. So the answer is option A. They are small size, less coiled, with major part present at the junction of cortex and medulla. So that is the incorrect statement. Question number 7. Every chromosome essentially has a primary construction or the dash on the sides of which disc-shaped structure called dash are present. Each chromosome consists of two chromatids that remain attached at a point called as centromere or primary construction. At a centromere, two disc-shaped structures are present known as kinetochore. During cell division, spindle fibers are attached to the kinetochore. So the answer is option C, centromere and kinetochores. Question number 8. Trypsinogen is activated into trypsin by an enzyme dash secreted by dash. Choose the option which correctly describes X and Y. The secretion of a brush border cells of the mucosa along with the secretions of goblet cells constitute the intestinal juice or succus entericus. Intestinal mucosa also secretes enterokinase enzyme which converts inactive trypsinogen into active trypsin. So the correctly matching option is option C. X is filling with enterokinase, Y is filling with intestinal mucosa. Question number 9. Cell divides when its karyocytoplasmic index or karyoplasmic index. Karyoplasmic index is the ratio of the volume of the nucleus to the volume of the cytoplasm. For each cell, fixed volume of nucleus can control the fixed volume of cytoplasm. When the volume of cytoplasm increases more than the volume of the nucleus, the karyoplasmic index decreases. Thus, the cell starts dividing. So, the answer is option A, decreases. Question number 10. The fifth thoracic vertebrae is. The trachea is a straight tube also called as windpipe which extended up to the mid-thoracic cavity. It divides at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae into right and left bronchi or primary bronchi as it is at the same level as the sternal angle. The fifth thoracic vertebrae in the region of the spindle column inferior to the cervical vertebrae of the neck. So the answer is option C, at the same level as the sternal angle. Question number 11. Observe and identify the given structure. Here one of the diagrammatic representation is given. Blue algae is a cyanobacterium embedded with a cell membrane, cell wall and gelatinous coat. In the cytoplasm, there are layers of phycobilisomes, photosynthetic lamellae, ribosomes, protein granules and circular DNA molecules. So the given diagrammatic representation is option B, blue-green algae. Question number 12. What is the number of carbon atoms which palmitic acid and arachidonic acid contain? That is including carbonyl carbon. Palmitic acid and arachidonic acid are fatty acids. Fatty acids are compounds which consist of carboxylic acid group and an R group in which number of carbon atoms varies from 1 to 19. Palmitic acid consists of 16 carbons and arachidonic acid consists of 20 carbons including carboxylic carbon. So the answer is option C, 16 and 20. Question number 13. Identify the labelings 1, 2 and 3 in the hemoglobin oxygen dissociation curve. Binding of oxygen and hemoglobin produces a characteristic S-shaped curve relating to PO2 to hemoglobin oxygen saturation. The graph explains the saturation of oxygen with hemoglobin at rest. Approximately 25% of available oxygen is extracted by the tissues, resulting in venous saturation of 75% and a PO2 is around 5.3 kPa. The P50 is the PO2 at which hemoglobin oxygen saturation is 50%, normally around 3.5 kPa. So the answer for this question is option D. Is binding of first oxygen molecule difficult to bind. Second process, binding of second oxygen molecule easy to bind. Third one is binding of third oxygen molecule very difficult to bind. So question number 14. In the primary structure of protein, the sequence of amino acid, the positional information in protein, which is the first amino acid and which is the second and so on, is called as primary structure. Amino acids are joined by peptide bond formed between COOH group of first amino acid and NH2 group of second amino acid. Thus, the first amino acid is left end as free NH2 group known as N-terminal amino acid and last amino acid is right end as free COOH group, thus known as C-terminal amino acid. So the answer is option C. Left end represent first amino acid, N-terminal amino acid. Question number 15. Which of the following connotations are not true about special creation theory of the origin of life? Special creation theory stated that all living organisms that we see today were created as such. The earth is about 4,000 years old. Diversity was always the same since creation and will remain same in future also. So the answer for this question is option C. There has been gradual evolution of life form. Question number 16. Three of the following statements about enzymes are correct and one is wrong. The wrong option is all enzymes are proteins. There is some nucleic acid, that is ribonucleic acid, ribosomal RNA that function as enzymes. There are called ribozymes. Enzymes get denatured at high temperatures except enzymes isolated from the thermophilic organisms. Enzymes are highly specific as only a specific group of substrate can bind to the active site of the enzyme. Enzymes are active both in intracellular and extracellular conditions. So the answer is option D. Most of the enzymes are active intracellular only and gets inactivated under extracellular conditions. So that is the wrong statement about enzymes. Question number 17. Find the correct match in the following. The universe originated about 20 billion years ago by Big Bang theory. It is generally called as thermonuclear explosion of dense entity. About 4.5 billion years ago, our solar system was probably created when the gaseous cloud called solar nebula started to collapse under the force of its own gravity. Founder effect operates in a small populations and gene flow operates in a large population. Deep veins are located within the muscle tissues and superficial veins are closer to the surface of the skin. So the answer for this question is option A. Viruses are smaller in size ranging from 20 to 400 nanometer and bacteria is larger in size around 1000 nanometer. So that is the correct match in the following. Question number 18. Which of the following plant cells shows totipotency? Totipotency is the natural and genetic potential of a single plant cell to form the entire plant. It is a characteristic feature of a cell to form all cell types in an adult organism. Spores, zygotes, and meristematic regions are good examples of totipotent cells by showing the greatest potential of differentiation and are able to form any cell. So the answer is option B. Meristem, zygote, and spores are the following plant cells. So totipotency. Question number 19. Arrange the following places increasing order of bird diversity. In general, species diversity increases as we move away from the equator to poles. Colombia, located near the equator, has nearly 1,400 species of birds, while India, with much of its land in tropics, has 1,200 species of birds. New York, at 41 degree north, has 105 species of birds, and Greenland, at 71 degree north, has 56 species of birds. So the correct sequence is option D. Third one will come first one second, and second will come third, fourth one that is last one. Question number 20. Match the following column 1 with column 2. The first human beings, the hominid, it was called Homo habilis. Neanderthal man buried their dead with flowers. Homo erectus had a large brain around 900 cc. Cro-Magnon man were known for excellent cave art paintings. So the correctly matching option is option D. Question number 21. Which of the following set of animals are triploblastic true coelomate with open type circulatory system? Open circulatory system, also called as hemocoel, is present in arthropoda, cockroach, mosquito, honeybee, etc. Hirudinaria of Annelida, blood-sucking leeches, non-cephalopod mollusk, Pila, Unio, Dentalium. So the correctly matching option is option D. Cockroach, leech, Pila. Question number 22. What cross leads to the production of the mule? Mule is a sterile hybrid produced from the mating between male donkey and female horse. It is generally called as mare. Hinny is another sterile hybrid produced from the mating between male horse. It is generally called as stallion and a female donkey. So the answer for this question is option A. Male donkey and female horse. Question number 23. Which of the following statement is correct about cyclostomata? All living members of cyclostomes are ectoparasites of some fishes. They have an elongated body bearing 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits. They have a sucking and circular mouth without jaws. So the answer is option C. They have a sucking and circular mouth without jaws. That is the correct about cyclostomata. Question number 24. The following is a broadly utilitarian reason for the conservation of biodiversity. The broadly utilitarian arrangement says that biodiversity plays a major role in many ecosystem services that nature provides. Pollination by insects is an ecosystem service that is a broadly utilitarian reason. The narrowly utilitarian argument for conservation of biodiversity are obvious human drive, countless economic benefits from nature. So the answer is option D. Many insect pollinates the plants. Question number 25. Which of the following contraceptive method has high rate of failure? Natural method work on the principle of avoiding chances of ovum and sperm meeting. They are of three types. First one is periodic abstinence. Second one is withdrawal or coitus interruptus. And third one is lactational amenorrhea. So the answer for this question is option D, periodic abstinence. Question number 26. Inactivates a catalytic converter. Catalytic converters are made using expensive metals like platinum, palladium, and rhodium. These act as the catalyst are fitted into automobiles to reduce the emission of poisonous gases. These noble metal catalysts are poisoned by the use of lead. So the answer is option B, lead. Question number 27. The given diagram represent. In the test tube baby program, an ovum is collected from the wife or donor female, and sperm are collected from husband or donor male, and are induced to form zygote under stimulated conditions in the laboratory and transferred into uterus for further development. So the answer is option B. The given diagram represents the blastomere of transfer to the uterus for the further development of the baby. So the correctly matching option is B. 28. How many of the following statements are correct? If there are four statements are given. Good ozone is formed in the stratosphere and it acts as a shield absorbing UV rays coming from the sun. UV radiation having a lower wavelength than ultraviolet B almost completely absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere. Given that the ozone layer is intact, UVB causes inflammation of the cornea called snow blindness, cataract, etc. The thickness of ozone in a column of air from the ground to the top of the atmosphere is measured in terms of Dobson units. In simplified manner, DU, and dB is known as decibels, is used to measure the amount of acoustics. So the correctly matching option is C. From the given four statements, there are three statements are correct. Question number 29. Under favorable conditions, somatic cells store food materials which become thick-walled structures and are called as. Under favorable conditions, somatic cells store food material which becomes thick-walled cells called as againites. They germinate to form new filament and colony. The answer is option B, againites. Question number 30. Are reducing sugars is the one that has a free aldehyde or free ketone group. Monosaccharides are reducing sugars. Glucose, fructose, maltose, galactose, and lactose are monosaccharides that are reducing in nature. Cellulose, starch, glycogen, and trehalose are also reducing polysaccharides. So the answer for this question is option A, glucose, fructose, maltose, galactose, and lactose. 31. The following graph shows the range of variation among population members for a trait determined by multiple genes. If the population is subject to stabilizing selection for several generations, which of these distribution is most likely to result? Stabilizing selection is a type of natural selection that favors the average individuals in a population. This process selects against the extreme phenotypes and instead of favors the majority of population that is well adapted to the environment. Stabilizing selection is often shown on a graph as modified bell curve that is narrower and taller than norm. So the answer for this question is option A. Question number 32. All the events of menstrual cycle stop and there is no menstruation during pregnancy is due to. After fertilization, the corpus luteum and later on placenta also secrete large amount of progesterone, which is essential to maintain endometrium for implantation and other pregnancy conditions. So the answer is option D, negative feedback of progesterone. Question number 33. Under unfavorable conditions, many zooplankton species in lakes and ponds are known to enter. Organisms respond to abiotic factor in different ways. If the stressful external conditions are localized or remains only for a short duration, then many zooplankton species in lakes and ponds are known to enter diapause, a stage of suspended development. So the answer is option C, diapause. Question number 34. Read the statements given below. From the given statements, choose the correct statements from the above. The structural and functional unit between the developing embryo and maternal body is called as placenta, which is connected to the embryo through an umbilical cord. At puberty in females, each ovary contains about 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles. So the answer is option D. So from the given three statements, is only one statement is correct. Question number 35. A place which used to be rocky and barren has now turned into a lush green forest. The planned succession of a area is. The rocky and barren place is deficient in water and lacks any organic matter, having only minerals in disintegrated or withered state. The pioneer to colonies. These primitive substitution or crustose type of lichens. Crustose lichens example folios, moss, herbs, shrubs, finally trees. So the answer for this question is option A. Lichens. It is followed by mosses. It is followed by herbs, and then it is followed by shrubs. Question number 36. Which one of the following pair of reproductive organs does not homology between males and females? Penis or glans penis of male is homologous to clitoris of female, as both are highly erectile and sensitive structure. Bartholin gland in female is homologous to bulbourethral gland of male to secrete mucus to provide lubrication. So the answer is option B. Scrotum and labia minora. Question number 37. In a pond ecosystem, the shape of pyramid of number is. The base of each pyramid represent the producers of the first trophic level, while the apex represent tertiary or top level consumers. The pyramid of number for pond ecosystem always upright. Phytoplanktons are chief producers through their biomass is less, but their number is maximum. So the answer is option C. The shape of pyramid of number is always upright. Question number 38. A man suffering from severe disease, which include symptoms like chills, fever, and cough. On close inspection, it is found his fingernails have turned blue, and X-ray of his lungs showed an accumulation of fluid in them. Which of the following pathogen is the causative agent for this disease? Bacteria like Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza are responsible for disease pneumonia in humans, which infects alveoli, that is, air-filled sacs of the lungs. As a result of the infection, the alveoli get filled with fluid, leading to the severe problems in respiration. The symptoms of pneumonia include fever, chills, cough, and headache. In severe cases, the lips and fingernails may turn gray or that is gray to bluish in color. A healthy person acquires the infection by inhaling the droplets, aerosols released by the infected person, or even by sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. Dysentery, plague, diphtheria, etc. are some of other bacterial diseases in man. So the answer is option C. Haemophilus influenzae. Question number 39. Consider the following statement concerning food chains. From the given four statement, which two of the above statements are correct? The series of organisms eating one and being eaten by other is called as food chain. A simple food chain consists of producers, herbivores, and carnivores. The length of food chain is generally limited to 3 to 4 trophic levels due to energy loss. In grazing food chain, the producers, example plants, are eaten by herbivores, example rabbit, deer, cow, etc., and are eaten by carnivores. Therefore, the removal of most of the carnivores resulted in an increased population of deers. So the answer is option A. Second and third, that two statements are correct about the food chain. Question number 40. Which of the following is correct option for decreasing order concentration of different types of antibodies which are produced in our body? There are 5 different types of antibodies which are secreted by plasma cells in our body. Their concentration are immunoglobulin G 65 to 75%. But immunoglobulin A is 10 to 15%. Immunoglobulin M 7 to 10%. Immunoglobulin D 1%. Immunoglobulin E less than 1%. So the correct sequence is option A. 41. Swollen placenta with many ovules is present in. Swollen placenta with oblique ovary is the character of Solanaceae family. Many ovules are organized in axial placentation on bilocular ovary. Chili is a member of Solanaceae family. Aloe vera and tulip are the members of Liliaceae family, and Mulati is a member of Fabaceae family. Hint: swollen placenta with many ovules present in axial placentation is the future of Solanaceae family. So the answer is option A, chili. Question number 42. Match in the following. This has no cure. Prevention is the best option. The only excuse may be ignorance, and therefore it is called don't die of ignorance. Smoking causes lung cancer. So from the given statements, there are three statements are correct. So the correctly matching option is C. Question number 43. Which of the following is not correct with respect to the part of a flower and its function? Sepals are like structure which protect the flower in bud condition. If green, they also carry out photosynthesis. Petals, if brightly colored, attracts insects for pollination. Staminodes are sterile stamens which does not produces pollen grains. So the answer for this question is option C. Staminodes produce pollen grain. So that is the incorrect statement. Question number 44. The four sketches are given below represent four different types of animal tissues. Which one of these are correctly identified in the option given along with its correct location and functions? The intestine is lined by glandular epithelium, which is secretory in function. The glands found in the intestine are exocrine and may be unicellular or multicellular. When unicellular glands secrete mucus, they are called as mucus cells or goblet cells and are common in the columnar epithelium of intestine. When the unicellular glands secrete a clear water fluid, they are called serous cells, which are also present in intestinal glands. On the other hand, multicellular glands consist of a duct and secretory portion both formed of epithelial cells. They are further divided into two types, tubular and saccular. The tubular glands, the secretory portion is tube-like. For example, crypts of Libercan. It is a type of simple straight tubular gland found in the intestine. And the another one is Brunner's gland, a type of simple branched tubular glands found in the intestine. So the answer for this question is option A. The name of the gland is glandular epithelium found in intestine. The function is secretion. So the correctly matching option is option A. Question number 45. Select the incorrect pair. Indigofera is a member of Fabaceae family which consists of 5 sepals having vexillary estivation. Brinjal is a member of Solanaceae family with 5 united petals. Asparagus is a member of Liliaceae family in which sepals and petals are absent. Instead, tepals are present. Colchicine is a member of Liliaceae family having perianth. So the answer is option C. Asparagus, sepals 3 often united into tube. So that is the incorrect pair. Question number 46. Which of the following glands or structures do not participate in excretion in Periplaneta americana? Pallic gland is a part of male reproductive system. Its duct near to the male gonopore. It is also known as conglobic gland. So the answer is option D. Pallic gland. 1. Match the column 1 with column 2. Marginal placentation is observed in Fabaceae family. Example P. Parietal placentation is present in Brassicaceae family. Examples mustard and argemone. Axial placentation is present in Solanaceae, Malvaceae and lemon family. Free central placentation is present in Dianthus and primrose. Basal is most advanced placentation present in sunflower and marigold. So the correctly matching option is option A. Question number 48. Plasma membrane of DAS is known as sarcolemma. Muscle fiber. Each muscle fiber is covered by a plasma membrane known as sarcolemma. Muscle fiber is syncytium, that is multinucleated condition, and it is having cytoplasm. It is generally called as sarcoplasm. Endoplasmic reticulum, it is generally called as sarcoplasmic reticulum, storehouse of calcium ions, and a large number of parallelly arranged filaments in the sarcoplasm. Myofilaments are myofibrils. So the answer is option A. Plasma membrane of myofiber is known as sarcolemma. Question number 49. Haplodiploidic life cycle is observed in which haploid gametophyte and diploid sporophyte alternate with each other is called haplodiploidic life cycle. In Bryophyta, haploid gametophyte is the main plant body on which a small dependent sporophyte is produced. In Pteridophyta, diploid sporophyte is main plant body and a small independent gametophyte is produced. So the answer is option D. Both A and B. That is haplodiploidic life cycle is observed in Bryophyta as well as in Pteridophyta. Question number 50. Read the statement from that how many of the statements are false. Only the statement C is incorrect. Tetany, low calcium plus ions in blood, rapid spasm, that is wild contractions in muscles. So that is the wrong statement. So the answer for this question is Option B. From the given four statements, the statement C alone wrong. Question number 51. At the stage of generation of action potential, the actual MI is a resting state of neuron, high concentration of K plus and negatively charged proteins and low concentration of Na plus in axoplasm. In contrast, the fluid outside the axon contains low concentration of K plus, a high concentration of Na plus, and thus form a concentration gradient. These ionic gradients across the resting membrane are maintained by sodium-potassium pump, which actively transport 3 Na plus outwards for 2 K plus into the cell. Outer surface of sarcolemma positively charged, inner surface negatively charged. Membrane is polarized. So the answer for this question is option A, positive outside. Question number 52. Select the incorrect statement from the following. In Bryophyta, haploid gametophyte is the main plant body on which a small dependent sporophyte is produced. In Pteridophyta, haploid sporophyte is main plant body and a small independent gametophyte is produced. In Gymnosperm, main plant body is diploid sporophyte and gametophyte is a small and not free living independent structure. In Angiosperm, the main plant body is diploid sporophyte with the smallest gametophyte. So the answer for this question is option C. The dominant phase in the life cycle of gymnosperm is gametophyte. That is the incorrect statement. Question number 53. Select the incorrect statement. There are different types of neurons on the basis of number of axons and dendrites are given. Unipolar neuron with one axon, no dendrites, found in embryonic stage. Bipolar neuron with one dendrite and one axon, found in retina. Multipolar neuron with two dendrites or more and one axon, found in cerebral cortex. So the answer for this question is option C. Unipolar neuron has only one dendrite. So that is the wrong statement, because of in unipolar neuron there is no dendrite, only one axon is present. So the incorrect statement is option C. Question number 54. Family Solanaceae and Convolvulaceae belongs to the order. Family Solanaceae and Convolvulaceae are included in order Polymonials on the basis of similarities in floral characters. Order being a higher category is the assemblage of families which exhibit a few similar characters. So the answer is option B, Polymonials. Question number 55. Which of the following hormone stimulates the reabsorption of electrolytes in the kidney? Vasopressin acts mainly at the kidney and stimulates reabsorption of water and electrolytes by the distal tubules and thereby reduces the loss of water through urine. It is generally called as diuresis. Hence, it is also called as antidiuretic hormone, ADH. So the answer is option C, ADH. Question number 56. Carbon skeleton produced during respiration is used as a precursor for biosynthesis of other molecules in the cell. Thus, respiration is. Since respiration involves a breakdown of substrates, it is traditionally considered a catabolic process. The different carbon skeleton produced in the pathway are used for synthesis of some biomolecules like during breakdown and synthesis of proteins. Respiratory intermediates forms the link. Because the respiratory pathway is involved in both anabolism and catabolism, it is considered as ampibolic pathway. So the answer is option C, ampibolic process. Question number 57. Select the incorrect statement. There are different types of hormones on the base of chemical nature is given. First one is peptide, polypeptide or protein hormones. Example, insulin, glucagon, pituitary hormones, thymosin and hypothalamic hormones. Second type, steroidal hormones. Example, cortisol, testosterone, estradiol and progesterone. Third type is iodothyronins. Example, thyroid hormones. Fourth type is amino acid derivatives. Example, epinephrine. So the answer for this question is option D. Thymosins that belongs to steroid hormone is given. So that is the incorrect match. Question number 58. How many molecules of carbon dioxide will be produced if two molecules of acetyl-CoA is completely oxidized in aerobic respiration? Acetyl-CoA is a two-carbon compound. Thus, when it is oxidized in matrix of mitochondria, it produces two molecules of carbon dioxide. Thus, for oxidation of two molecules of acetyl-CoA in aerobic respiration, 4 molecules of carbon dioxide is produced. So the answer is option D, 4. Question number 59. Which of the following group represent all beneficial elements? In addition to 17 essential elements, there are some elements which are required by plants and help the plants in various functions. These elements are called as beneficial elements. These elements are required by only some specific plants only. So the answer is option C. Na, Si, Co and Ac or some beneficial elements. Question number 60. Read the following statements. From that, how many statements are correct? Only the statement B is correct. A. Insulin is a peptide hormone secreted in blood. C. Zona glomerulosa forms the outer layer of adrenal cortex. So the answer is option B. From the given three statements, only one statement is correct. The correct statement is B. Question number 61. Stomata which opens up in night and remains closed during daytime shows. In plants growing in deserts, commonly known as succulent xerophytes, the stomata opens during night and closes during daytime. Such stomata are known as scotoactive stomata. It is an adaptation to reduce transpiration during daytime when the temperature is very high. Such plants shows CAM metabolism as the method of photosynthesis. So the answer for this question is option B, CAM pathway. Question number 62. Chlorophyll A is absent in which of the following photosynthetic organisms? The photosynthetic bacteria use inorganic electron donors such as hydrogen sulfide, H2, sulfur compound, etc. They contain bacteriochlorophyll, but chlorophyll A is absent. So the answer is option B. Bacteria do not contain chlorophyll A. The remaining plant species contain chlorophyll A. Question number 63. During photorespiration, the oxygen consuming reaction occur in. Photorespiration is the process that occurs in C3 plants. In this process, peroxisomes, chloroplast, and mitochondria take part. The oxygen-consuming reactions occurs in peroxisomes and stroma of chloroplast, while carbon dioxide releasing reaction occurs in mitochondria. So the answer is option A, stroma of chloroplast and peroxisome. Question number 64. Which one of the following plant hormone is not correctly matched with its function? A, commonly called as stress hormone, causes closure of stomata. Cytokinin is an important in promoting cell division, and auxin promotes apical dominance by inhibiting the growth of lateral bud. Gibberellin is a growth promoting hormone. It delays the process of senescence and inhibits leaf fall. So the answer is option B, gibberellic acid, leaf fall. So that is the incorrect statement. Question number 65. Term used for permanent cells that have a reobtained meristematic property to perform cell division is. Differentiation is the phenomena by which the permanent mature cell that has lost the power of division becomes meristematic and starts division again. For example, during secondary growth in dicostem, fully differentiated parenchyma becomes meristematic to form intrafascicular ganglion and core ganglion. So the answer is option B, de-differentiation. Question number 66. The thalloid body of slime mold is known as. Slime molds are saprophytic protists. Under suitable condition, they form an aggregation called plasmodium, which may grow and spread up to several feet. So the answer is option D, plasmodium. Question number 67. Which one of the following organism is not an example of unicellular eukaryote? Euglena, Goniolax, and amoeba all are unicellular eukaryotes. E. coli is unicellular prokaryotic bacterial cell. So the answer is option D, E. coli. Question number 68. The fungi which are used to produce the product which is also the first stable product of TCA cycle belongs to. The first stable product of TCA cycle or Krebs cycle is citric acid, which is commercially produced using Aspergillus niger. This fungus belongs to ascomycetes. So the answer is option B, ascomycetes. Question number 69. The bacterial genome consists of. Bacteria is a prokaryotic cell, thus lacks a well-defined nucleus. The genetic material is basically nagged and not enveloped by a nuclear membrane. The genome is a single circular double-stranded DNA not associated with histone proteins. The answer is option C, DNA without histone. Question number 70. Select the incorrectly matched pair. The initiation codon is mainly AUG, but in some bacteria, under the specific conditions when AUG is absent, GUG can also function as initiation codon. There are three stop codons or termination codons: UAA, UGA, UAG. The initiation codon is AUG, which performs a dual function and specifies amino acid methionine. Alanine is coded by GCC, GCU, GCA, and GCG. So the answer is option D, alanine, ACC, ACU, ACA, and ACG, that is incorrectly matched pair. 1. UTR are untranslated region present on. A translation unit in mRNA consists of some additional sequences that are not translated and are referred to as an untranslated regions. The UTRs are present at both 5 ends before the start codon and 3 end after stop codons. They are required for an efficient translation process. So the answer is option C, mRNA. Question number 72. Hershey-Chase experiment successfully proved DNA to be the genetic material. The correct sequence of steps followed in this experiment is: in Hershey and Chase experiment, radioactive pages were allowed to attach to E. coli bacteria. Then, as infection proceeded, the viral coats were removed from the bacteria by agitating them in a blender. The virus particle was separated from the bacteria by spinning them in the centrifuge. This is known as centrifugation. So the answer is option D, infection followed by blending and centrifugation. So the correct option is D. Question number 73. Identify the incorrect match. The most common method of asexual reproduction in Chlamydomonas is zoospore formation. In Penicillium, exogenous spores called as zoospores are produced. Many single-celled organisms like amoeba reproduce by binary fission. In Hydra, asexual reproduction occurs by exogenous bud formation. So the answer is option C, Hydra gemmules. That is the incorrect match. Question number 74. To which of the following parts of a flower the proximal end of the filament of stamen is attached? A typical stamen consists of two parts, the long slender stalk called as filament and the terminal, generally bilobed structure called as anther. The proximal end of the filament is attached to the thalamus or petals of the flower. The answer is option B, thalamus or petals. Question number 75. Mass of cell enclosed within the integments in the ovule is called. Each ovule has one or two protective envelopes called integments. Enclosed within the integument is a mass of cells called the nucellus, which has abundant reserve food material. It provides nutrition to developing female gametophyte or embryo sac. So the answer is option C, nucellus. Question number 76. Which of the following is correct about post-fertilization event in flowering plants? The embryo develops at the micropylar end of the embryo sac. The most zygote divides only after certain amount of endosperm develops, as this is an adaptation to provide assured nutrition to the developing embryo. So the answer is option B. Endosperm develops before embryo. Question number 77. Which of the following statement is wrong? PEN is the primary endosperm nucleus which is formed by triple fusion when second male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei present in the central cell to form triploid primary endosperm nucleus which divides to form triploid endosperm. So the answer is option D. PEN is produced by the fusion of two polar nuclei. So that is the incorrect statement. Question number 78. Which of the following group of plants shows entomopily? Yucca is pollinated by moth pronuba during the process of laying eggs. Ficus is pollinated by gall wasp, that is blastopega, which lays its egg in the gall flower of Hypanthodium inflorescens. Salvia shows the liver mechanism of pollination by insects. So the answer is option D, Yucca, Ficus and Salvia. Question number 79. Choose the correct option with regard to statement A and B. Lactic acid bacteria produce lactic acid which causes coagulation of milk and causes partial digestion of milk protein casein. Lactic acid produced is necessary for the conversion of milk to curd. So the answer for this question is option C. From the given statement A and B, statement A is correct, but the statement B is incorrect. Question number 80. Mendel selected dash for his experiment. Mendel has selected 14 true breeding plant varieties and 7 pairs of contrasting characters for his hybridization experiment. A true breeding line is one that, having undergone continuous self-pollination, shows the stable trait inheritance and expression for several generations. So the answer for this question is option A, 14 true breeding pea plant varieties. Question number 81. Reasons for Mendel's success was: Mendel in his experiment studied the inheritance of single character at a time. He investigated characters in garden pea plants that were manifested as two opposing traits that allowed him to set up a basic framework of rules governing inheritance. So the answer is option B. So from the 82, Drosophila melanogaster genome consists of Drosophila melanogaster consists of in diploid condition 8 chromosome. It consists of 3 pairs of autosomes and a pair of allosome. Female consists of 3 pairs of autosome and 2 X chromosome, and male consists of 3 pair of autosome and X and Y chromosome. So the answer for this question is option A, 3 pair of autosome plus 1 pair of allosome. 83. Genotype of male plant is capital T, and genotype of female plant is small t. What would be the genotype of endosperm? Ploidy of endosperm is 3N, that is a triploid, and it is formed by the triple fusion in which second male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei present in the central cell of the embryo sac. If the male parent is capital T, then male gamete will be half, that is single capital T, and the female parent is small t, then two polar nuclei will have small t and small t. Thus, the genotype of endosperm is capital T, small t. So the answer for this question is option B, capital T, small t. Question number 84. With respect to the ABO group, there are 4 major blood types because this blood group is determined by 3 alleles. I power A, just I power A, I power B, and I power O. Alleles I power A and I power B are codominant. Blood group A is determined by I power A, or I power A, I power O. Blood group B is determined by I power B, or I power B, I power O. Blood group O is determined by I power O, O. Blood group AB is I power A, I power B. So the answer is option C. 3 alleles of which 2 are codominant and the third is recessive. Question number 85. Which one of the following symbol and its representation used in human pedigree analysis is correct? Pedigree analysis is a record of the occurrence of trait in several generations of human family. In this, male members are shown by squares and female by circles. Shapes are represented horizontally on a line in order of birth. It helps us in giving information about the genotype of an individual for the trait under investigations. So the answer for this question is option A. So from the question number 86, bioreactors have to produce in a large quantities. The development of bioreactors where large volume, that is 10 to 1000 liters of cultures can be processed as required. Thus, bioreactors are large vessels where raw materials are biologically converted into a specific products. So the answer is option D. Bioreactors have foam control system, temperature control system, oxygen delivery system, pH control system. So the answer is all of the above. Question number 87. Which of the following is not the application of PCR? Polymerase chain reaction (PCR) technology is an efficient and cost-effective way to copy or amplify small segments of DNA. PCR test to detect cancer cells. PCR is not used for detection of antibodies synthesized against pathogens. So the answer for this question is option D. From the given 4 statements, the statement D is not the application of PCR. Question number 88. Humulin is a. In 1983, an American company, Eli Lilly, prepared 2 DNA sequences corresponding to A and B chains of human insulin and introduced them in a plasmid of E. coli to produce insulin chains. Chains A and B were produced separately, extracted, and combined by creating disulfide bonds between them to form human insulin. So the answer is option B. Human insulin synthesized by genetically engineered E. coli bacteria. Question number 89. How many recombinant therapeutics have been approved for human use all over the world? Therapeutics are drugs that are produced by recombinant DNA technology. At present, about 30 recombinant therapeutics have been approved for human use the world over. In India, 12 of these are presently being marketed. Answer is option C, 30. Question number 90 is the last question. Select the mismatched one. ELISA is generally called as enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, is a preliminary test for AIDS, while Westmot is confirmatory test. Wucheria is the causative organism of filariasis or elephantiasis. Ringworm is a fungal infection commonly caused by a fungus genus Microsporum, Trichophyton, and Epidermophyton, that all are fungal species. So the answer for this question is option C. Malaria, that is they are given Anopheles mosquito. Malaria is caused by female Anopheles mosquito. So that is the mismatched one. Thank you very much for listening our videos. Those who are watching our videos, you are requested to like, subscribe and share to your friends. All the best.